This story is titled, Best Friend Borrowed My Car for a Job Interview. She's been using it as an Uber under my name. Now I'm being sued for accidents she caused. Have you ever had that moment when your entire world crashes down around you, and you realize that the person you trusted most has been systematically destroying your life? That's where I am right now, buried under a mountain of legal papers, my phone constantly buzzing with calls from angry lawyers, and my insurance company threatening to drop me. All because I tried to help my supposed best friend get back on her feet. I'm Madison, 25F, and until 3 weeks ago, I was living what I thought was my best life in Austin, Texas. I had a steady job as a physical therapist, a cozy apartment that I shared with my cat Mr. Whiskers, and most importantly, I had what I thought was an unshakable friendship with Ashley, 24F, my best friend since high school. Looking back now, I should have seen the red flags. Ashley had always been spontaneous. That's what I loved about her. She brought excitement into my otherwise predictable life. We were opposites in many ways. I was the responsible one who planned everything, while she lived life like there was no tomorrow. Our other friends, like Emma, 25F, and Tyler, 26M, a couple we regularly hung out with, often joked that Ashley and I were like a chaotic, good-organized evil duo. Things started changing about 6 months ago when Ashley lost her job at the local coffee shop. She moved in with her brother Kevin, 28M, who lived across town, and started talking about how she needed to reinvent herself. I supported her, of course. That's what best friends do, right? Then came that fateful day 3 weeks ago. Ashley called me, crying about a job interview at some prestigious marketing firm. Her car had broken down, and she begged to borrow mine. Just for the afternoon, she said. Just this one time, she promised. I still remember her exact words through her tears. Maddie, this could be my big break. Please, I can't mess this up. I handed her my keys without hesitation. After all, we had borrowed each other's things countless times before. My Toyota Camry wasn't anything fancy, but it was reliable, and I had just gotten it serviced. Ashley promised to return it by evening, and I arranged to work from home that day to make things easier. That evening, she texted saying the interview went long and she needed the car until tomorrow. Then tomorrow became the next day and the next. Her excuses were always elaborate. Follow-up interviews, training sessions, paperwork to fill out. I was annoyed but happy she seemed to be getting her life together. Little did I know that while I was proud of her supposed career progress, she was out there running a rideshare operation under my name, using my car, with my insurance. My first hint that something was terribly wrong came when Emma called me, confusion in her voice, asking why she had just seen my car picking up passengers downtown when I was supposed to be at work. You know that sick feeling you get in your stomach when you realize something is horribly wrong? That's what I felt as I tried calling Ashley, only to find her number suddenly disconnected. I desperately messaged Kevin, who replied with something that made my blood run cold. Ashley told me you gave her your car because you got a new one. She's been living with her boyfriend for weeks now. Boyfriend? Ashley didn't have a boyfriend. At least, not one she had ever told me about. But that was just the beginning. As I sat there, trying to process this betrayal, my phone lit up with a call from an unknown number. It was a lawyer, and the news he delivered would send my life spiraling into a nightmare I never could have imagined. The lawyer's voice on the phone was stern and businesslike as he explained that I was being sued by multiple parties for accidents that had occurred across Austin over the past 3 weeks. My head spun as he listed off dates, locations, and incident reports. 3 separate accidents. All in my car. All while Ashley was supposedly at her new dream job. I felt like I was going to be sick. The lawyer explained that since the car was registered in my name and insured under my policy, I was legally responsible for the damages. We're talking about thousands of dollars in property damage and medical bills. One accident had involved a cyclist who suffered a broken arm. How could this be happening? In a panic, I called my insurance company. That's when I discovered something even more disturbing. There had been numerous complaints filed against me as a rideshare driver, rude behavior, dangerous driving, even allegations of showing up intoxicated. My stomach churned as I realized Ashley had been using my identity this entire time. Every negative review, every accident report, every angry passenger, it was all being logged under my name. The insurance agent's tone grew increasingly suspicious as she read through the reports. According to their records, I had been logging over 12 hours of driving time daily for the past 3 weeks. The agent informed me that due to the multiple accidents and violations, they were considering terminating my policy. When I tried to explain that it wasn't me driving, that my car had been stolen, she just coldly replied that I should have reported it sooner. She was right. Why hadn't I reported it? Because I trusted Ashley. Because I couldn't believe she would do this to me. Because I was an idiot. That evening, as I sat surrounded by printouts of accident reports and insurance claims, Emma came over with a bottle of wine and some surprising information. She had done some digging on social media and discovered that Ashley's new boyfriend was actually Jason, 31M, a guy with a history of small-time cons who had been banned from multiple rideshare platforms. The pieces were starting to fit together. Ashley hadn't just betrayed me on a whim. This had been a calculated plan. Through tears and wine, Emma helped me piece together the timeline. Ashley had likely met Jason months ago, probably while she was still working at the coffee shop. The job loss, the moving in with her brother, the elaborate stories about interviews, it had all been part of their scheme. They needed a clean car and a clean driving record to run their rideshare scam, and I had handed them both on a silver platter. But the real gut punch came when I checked my bank account before bed. Remember those automatic toll tag payments I had set up for convenience? Ashley and Jason had been taking every toll road in the city, racking up hundreds of dollars in charges that were being automatically deducted from my account. As I lay in bed that night, unable to sleep, my phone buzzed with a text from an unknown number. It was a photo of Ashley and a man I assumed was Jason, sitting in what was clearly my car, both of them grinning and holding up wads of cash. The caption read, "Thanks for the ride, bestie." That's when something inside me snapped. The hurt and betrayal I'd been feeling suddenly crystallized into something harder, colder. Ashley hadn't just stolen my car. She had stolen my identity, my reputation, my peace of mind. And she was mocking me about it. I picked up my phone and started typing a message to Emma. If Ashley thought she could play games with my life and get away with it, she was about to learn a very expensive lesson. But first, I needed to find out exactly where she and Jason were operating. The next morning, I woke up with a pounding headache and a clear mission. First step, damage control. I spent 3 hours filing police reports and speaking with my insurance company. I documented everything: the fake job interview story, the timeline of events, the mocking text message. The insurance agent was more sympathetic this time, especially after I forwarded her the photo Ashley had sent. But damage control wasn't enough. Not anymore. Not after that text. I remembered something crucial: the toll tag system. Those automatic payments I've been cursing, they were about to become my secret weapon. Each toll charge came with a timestamp and location. Emma, who worked in data analytics, helped me map out every toll point my car had passed through over the past 3 weeks. A pattern emerged. Ashley and Jason were creatures of habit. They were working primarily in the northern part of Austin, focusing on the area around the Domain, an upscale shopping district with plenty of people looking for rides. They seemed to be running their scam during peak hours, especially Thursday through Sunday nights when bar hopping was at its height. But here's where it gets interesting. Remember Kevin, Ashley's brother? He reached out to me through Emma, feeling guilty about his role in all this. Turned out Ashley had fed him the same lies she'd told everyone else, but he'd grown suspicious after overhearing a late-night phone call. He didn't know exactly where Ashley was staying, but he knew she frequented a particular dive bar called the Rusty Nail, where her new boyfriend Jason worked as a part-time bouncer. Finally, a solid lead. That's when Tyler, Emma's boyfriend, came through with an unexpected connection. His cousin worked as a bartender at the Rusty Nail. According to her, Ashley and Jason were regulars, always bragging about their business venture and flashing cash around. They typically showed up around 1 a.m. after their rideshare shift ended. I spent the next few days building my case and planning my move. Every toll charge, every accident report, every rideshare complaint, I documented it all. But I needed more. I needed to catch them in the act. Emma thought I was crazy. Just let the police handle it, she said. But she didn't understand. This wasn't just about the car anymore. This was about the years of friendship Ashley had thrown away, about the trust she betrayed, about the way she'd turned my kindness into a weapon against me. That's when I remembered something else, something Ashley didn't know about my car. Something that would turn this whole situation on its head. 6 months ago, after my car had been broken into, I'd installed a hidden GPS tracker. I hadn't checked it since Ashley took the car because I trusted her. What kind of fool trusts someone that completely? But now, with trembling fingers, I logged into the tracking app. There it was. A complete record of everywhere my car had been for the past 3 weeks. And more importantly, where it was right now. As I stared at the blinking dot on my screen, a plan started forming in my mind. Ashley and Jason thought they were so clever, thought they had pulled off the perfect scam. But they had no idea what was coming. I picked up my phone and called Tyler. His cousin's shift at the Rusty Nail started in 2 hours. It was time to set my plan in motion. Sometimes the best revenge isn't served cold. It's served with a smile and perfect timing. The Rusty Nail was exactly the kind of place Ashley would love: dim lights, sticky floors, and cheap drinks. Tyler's cousin Megan, 24F, had texted to confirm that Ashley and Jason were following their usual pattern, picking up passengers around the domain. According to the GPS tracker, they were making their way through their regular route. They'd be at the bar in about 2 hours. Perfect timing for what I had in mind. I'd spent the previous day preparing everything. First, I'd contacted my insurance company and the rideshare company with all my evidence: the GPS data, the toll records, the timestamps of the accidents. They were particularly interested in the fact that I had supposedly been driving the car when I could prove I was at work, thanks to my hospital's electronic time clock system. But that was just the beginning. Remember those accident reports? I'd reached out to the victims. Turns out, they were more than happy to help when they learned the truth. The cyclist with the broken arm? He was a law student who'd taken detailed photos of my car and me at the scene. Photos that clearly showed Ashley behind the wheel, not me. He'd already submitted them to his insurance company, but now they were also in my possession. Each piece was falling into place. The real stroke of genius came from Emma. She suggested creating a paper trail of my attempts to get my car back. So I'd sent Ashley multiple text messages and emails over the past few days, formally demanding the return of my vehicle. Of course, she never responded, but that was the point. Each message was timestamped proof that I was trying to recover my stolen property. As midnight approached, I parked my borrowed car, courtesy of Emma, across from the Rusty Nail. The GPS tracker showed my Camry was still making its rounds, picking up passengers. Ashley and Jason had no idea their little operation was about to come crashing down. Tyler's cousin Megan had been invaluable, keeping us updated on the bar's security schedule. Jason usually worked Thursday through Sunday as a bouncer, but he'd called in sick tonight. They were clearly planning to make it a profitable evening with their rideshare scam before coming in to celebrate. At 12:45 a.m., my phone buzzed. A text from Megan, that just called ahead, said they're having a great night and to save them their usual spot at the bar. I checked the GPS tracker again. My car was making its way toward the bar, just as expected. Ashley and Jason had been creatures of habit throughout their entire scam, and tonight was no different. They always ended their shift with a celebration at the Rusty Nail. But tonight's celebration would be a little different. I watched as the GPS dot moved closer to the bar. Emma, sitting beside me in her car, squeezed my hand. "Are you sure about this?" she whispered. I nodded. I'd never been more sure of anything in my life. The plan itself was simple. Sometimes the best traps are the ones where you let people walk right into them, thinking they're completely safe. Ashley and Jason thought they had me figured out, the responsible, predictable Madison who would just file police reports and wait for the system to work. They were about to learn how wrong they were. As my car turned onto the street, I took a deep breath. Everything was in position. In about 10 minutes, Ashley and Jason would park my car and walk into the Rusty Nail, just like they did every night. But tonight, they'd find something waiting for them that would make them regret ever taking advantage of my trust. At exactly 1:15 a.m., my Camry pulled into the Rusty Nail's parking lot. Through the dim light, I could see Ashley and Jason emerging from the car, counting what looked like a thick wad of cash. They were laughing, probably congratulating themselves on another successful night of scamming people using my identity. They wouldn't be laughing for long. What Ashley didn't know was that while she was out joyriding in my car, I'd been busy. Really busy. Remember the cyclist with the broken arm? He wasn't just a law student. He was part of a legal clinic that specialized in insurance fraud cases. After hearing my story, he and his colleagues had helped me prepare everything we needed. I watched as Ashley and Jason walked toward the bar entrance, where Megan was waiting to greet them with her usual friendly smile. Right on cue, my phone buzzed with a message from Emma, who was positioned inside. "They're here. Everything's ready." The moment Ashley and Jason settled at their usual spot at the bar, it happened. The lights came up slightly, not enough to cause a scene, but enough to make everyone clearly visible. That's when the first person approached them, the cyclist, arms still in a cast, accompanied by his supervising attorney. Behind them, Two other accident victims Ashley had hit while driving my car, all with papers in hand. The look on Ashley's face was priceless. But I wasn't done. As Ashley and Jason tried to process what was happening, more people started emerging from different corners of the bar. Representatives from the rideshare company, my insurance agent, even Kevin, Ashley's brother, who had finally decided to do the right thing and was ready to testify about Ashley's lies. I had arranged for everyone involved in Ashley's little scam to be present, each with their own documentation of her fraud. The bar wasn't just a bar tonight. It was a carefully orchestrated confrontation where every single person Ashley and Jason had wronged was ready to hold them accountable. Through Megan, we'd made sure the bar's security cameras were working perfectly. Every attempt they might make to deny or escape would be recorded. Every word they said could and would be used against them. That's when I finally walked in. Ashley's face went from confusion to shock to fear in the span of seconds. Jason, trying to maintain his tough guy bouncer persona, started to stand up, but quickly sat back down when he saw the papers in everyone's hands. "Hey, bestie," I said, mimicking her mocking text from earlier. "Thanks for taking such good care of my car." I pulled out my phone and showed her the GPS tracking app with its complete history of everywhere they'd driven over the past 3 weeks. Every accident location, every fraudulent ride, every lie documented in precise digital detail. What happened next was almost anticlimactic. Ashley started crying, claiming she could explain everything. Jason tried to blame it all on her. They turned on each other almost immediately, each attempting to minimize their own role in the scam. But I didn't care about their excuses. I had what I needed. Their confessions, their reactions, all caught on the bar's security cameras, witnessed by everyone present. The legal clinic representatives began serving them with papers, civil suits, insurance claims, and evidence of identity theft. Sometimes the best revenge isn't about getting even. It's about justice served with perfect documentation. As Ashley and Jason were being served with multiple lawsuits, I walked over to my car, and finally reclaimed my keys from Ashley's purse. But I wasn't quite finished yet. There was one final piece to my revenge that would ensure they never forgot the lesson they were about to learn. The morning after the confrontation at the Rusty Nail, I woke up to my phone buzzing nonstop. News travels fast in Austin, especially when it involves a rideshare scam being busted in such a spectacular way. The bar's regulars had apparently posted about the whole scene on social media, and the story was spreading like wildfire through local groups. But I wasn't focused on the social media drama. I was too busy implementing the final phase of my plan. Remember all those toll charges that had been automatically deducted from my account? While Ashley and Jason had been busy running their scam, I've been working with my bank to document every single unauthorized charge. The moment Ashley and Jason were served with papers at the bar, I submitted everything to the toll authority. Here's where karma gets really sweet. See, operating an unauthorized rideshare service using someone else's identity isn't just fraud. It's a violation of multiple transportation and business codes. The toll authority took one look at my documentation and not only reversed all the charges to my account, but they were now going after Ashley and Jason for the full commercial rate on every single toll they'd run through. But that wasn't even the best part. Remember Kevin, Ashley's brother? After seeing everything go down at the bar, he finally came clean about something else. Apparently, Ashley and Jason had been bragging to him about how much money they were making with their little scheme. They'd even shown him where they were keeping their stash of cash, in a storage unit they'd rented using surprise, my name and information. The audacity of these people never ceased to amaze me. Within 24 hours of the bar confrontation, I had documentation proving the storage unit was fraudulently obtained using my identity. One quick visit to the storage facility manager with the police, and suddenly all that rideshare money Ashley and Jason had been hoarding was being counted as evidence. Emma called me later that day with an update that made me laugh out loud. Jason, in a desperate attempt to save himself, had turned completely on Ashley. He was claiming she had masterminded the whole thing, that she had convinced him my car was actually hers. Ashley, in turn, was telling anyone who would listen that Jason had manipulated her into betraying me. Their little partnership hadn't lasted long under pressure. The legal clinic was having a field day with the case. Apparently, they were using it as a teaching example for their students about how insurance fraud and identity theft investigations should be conducted. The cyclist with the broken arm even joked that they should hire me as a guest lecturer. But the real satisfaction came when I checked my email that evening. The rideshare company had completed their investigation and sent me a detailed report. They were not only clearing my name, but were also providing documentation of every single ride Ashley and Jason had given using my identity. This would be crucial for the upcoming legal proceedings. As I sat in my apartment that night, finally relaxing with Mr. Whiskers on my lap and my car safely parked where I could see it, I felt a strange mix of emotions. Part of me was sad about losing a friendship I'd treasured for so many years. But mostly, I felt relieved and proud that I hadn't just rolled over and played the victim. But there was still one final twist coming. 3 days after the confrontation at the Rusty Nail, I received an unexpected visitor at my apartment, Ashley's mother, Mrs. Rodriguez. I hadn't seen her in years, not since Ashley and I graduated high school. She looked older, tired, and deeply worried. What she told me changed everything I thought I knew about Ashley's betrayal. It turned out that Ashley's spiral hadn't started with meeting Jason or losing her coffee shop job. 6 months ago, she had received a devastating diagnosis, a rare form of aggressive leukemia. She had hidden it from everyone, even her family, until the medical bills became impossible to handle. Her job loss wasn't random. She had been missing too many shifts for treatments. Mrs. Rodriguez showed me Ashley's medical records on her phone, her hand shaking. The timing matched perfectly with when Ashley's behavior had started to change. The reinventing herself phase, the mysterious absences, the increasing desperation, it all made terrible sense. But it didn't excuse what she had done. According to her mother, Ashley had met Jason at a support group, of all places. He was there with his sister who was also battling cancer. Instead of being a source of support, they had enabled each other's worst decisions, convincing themselves that desperate times justified desperate measures. The money from the rideshare scam? Most of it had gone to medical bills. The storage unit hadn't been full of stolen cash. It had been full of medical supplies and prescription receipts. Ashley and Jason had been using the rideshare money to pay for treatments that insurance wouldn't cover. I felt my carefully constructed anger beginning to crack. But here's the thing about betrayal. Knowing the reason behind it doesn't make it hurt any less. Understanding Ashley's desperation didn't undo the accidents she'd caused, the people she'd hurt, or the trust she'd broken. It just made everything more complicated. That evening, I sat down and wrote 2 emails. The first was to the legal clinic, sharing this new information. Ashley's actions were still wrong, but context mattered in legal proceedings. The second email was to Ashley herself, at an address her mother had given me. I wrote that I understood now why she'd done what she'd done, that I wished she had trusted me enough to tell me about her diagnosis, that real friends help each other through desperate times, but they do it honestly, together. I told her that I couldn't forgive her yet, but I understood her now. Then I did one final thing. I logged into my healthcare portal at work and found the contact information for our hospital's oncology department and financial assistance program. I forwarded it to both Ashley and her mother. Sometimes revenge isn't about making someone suffer. It's about making them face the consequences while still leaving the door open for redemption. The last I heard, Ashley and Jason were both facing legal consequences for their actions, but with considerations for their circumstances. The insurance claims and lawsuits were proceeding, but with structured payment plans rather than immediate demands. Ashley had enrolled in a clinical trial at our hospital's cancer center. As for me, I had my car back, my name cleared, and a powerful lesson about trust and friendship. Mr. Whiskers still sleeps in the windowsill, watching my car in the parking lot like a furry security guard. Emma and Tyler drop by more often now, and even Kevin checks in regularly. The other day, I received a letter from Ashley, a real, handwritten letter. I haven't opened it yet. It sits on my coffee table, waiting for the day when I'm ready to read it. Maybe someday I will be. But for now, I'm focused on rebuilding my life and learning to trust again, starting with trusting myself and my instincts. After all, sometimes the best revenge is living well and growing stronger from the experience.